Testimonials, what people are saying about Jim Egan and the Newport Tower Museum.
I'm a professor of architectural history at Roger Williams University here in Rhode Island and also at the University of Lincoln in England. So I'm particularly interested in relationships between England and America and also European precedents for architecture here in America. I'm particularly interested in Jim Egan's investigations of the Newport Tower. I think that he has shown conclusively that the tower was designed as a horologium or a timekeeper, and that it was also designed as a catechism of some sorts, a three-dimensional model for instructional purposes, or an edificium of philosophical structures and philosophical ideas that were extremely prevalent during the Renaissance. And a building can represent these through mathematical proportions, geometries. In the case of the Newport Tower, the presence of the camera obscura, models of vision, things like that. And Jim has shown that these philosophies can be found in particular in the writings of John Dee, the famous statesman and philosopher in Elizabethan England, who was involved with colonizing efforts, and in particular an effort to colonize this part of Rhode Island. And there's a probable connection between the building of the tower and John Dee's efforts, and there's certainly a connection between the iconography that Jim reads in the tower, the meaning from the symbols, and the writings of Dee. So, these are very important discoveries to me. I mean, he has discovered a previously unknown connection between Renaissance Europe and the United States, Elizabethan England and the United States, right? It's important for the history of the American colonies and the relationship between England and the American colonies, and it's important for architecture in general. I mean, it puts, a piece of the 1,000-year-old tradition of European philosophy and history in early America, which is pretty amazing, right? I don't think there's any other example of that. So, for that to be discovered, right, it's extremely important, for anybody studying colonial history, Rhode Island history, the Renaissance, architecture, and it's even important for the practice of architecture as it develops to, have more historicist references and for everyone to understand more, the entire history of architecture and philosophy to apply it to future possibilities.
My name is Bill Penhallow. I'm a retired professor of physics at the University of Rhode Island, where I did a lot of teaching in astronomy. And about 20 years ago, 1992, both Jim and I were involved in an organization called the NERA, the New England Antiquities Research Association. And at a meeting at Brown University held in 1992, I first presented evidence of astronomical alignments in the tower. Jim got very much interested in this, and photographically proved a number of these alignments, their existence and how it worked, and added a few to the collection as well. Jim is a modern polymath, as they call it, who understands John Dee, who was the polymathic advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, and advised her that all of North America was fair game for her empire as it developed. So I feel that Jim is right on the mark here, and his theory is very worthwhile studying in great detail so that we can get this question answered once and for all.
I had seen the tower before, but it caught my interest. I had no idea what exactly it was, other than I knew it wasn't a mill. It did not look like a mill, it did not feel like a mill. It represented something special to me, it meant something to me. It was pleasing to look at, and I kept finding myself being drawn back to it. Actually, both hotels that I've stayed at in my trips to Newport, I stay by the tower because I like being by it. And just happened upon you, and you said you knew what the tower was and that you would explain it to us. And so we came back and, you know, did the tour, and it was amazingly illuminating. I mean, it just, all kinds of information that little by little it all fell into place to explain what it was, how it worked, and the questions that we had really were completely answered.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just amazing.
Well, it's like you definitely felt an energy about the tower, and then you piqued our interest by saying that you knew what the tower, you know, was, and you know how it was constructed, and so it's like that was really exciting to find out all the little details about it.
And I think that anyone that looks at it is curious, what is this? And to be able to find out, that's pretty special.
And then to go back all the way back to the mathematics of it, I thought that was amazing. It's like to connect all the dots. It's like then, you know, lights kind of went out. I like that part of it.
I'm Kevin Wolfring.
Yeah.
I was just at Jim's Newport Tower Museum, and I listened to his lecture, and it was brilliant. He backed everything up with facts and knowledge and history, and it was interesting, and it really moved me to be interested about the buildings that we don't research enough today. So I think everybody should check it out.
Stop by the Newport Tower Museum and see what all the excitement's about. It's located at 152 Mill Street, just 50 steps northeast of the tower.